In the area of Senegal, West Africa, called the Casamance, the separatist group, the Movement of Democratic Forces, has struggled against the Senegalese government since 1982, long before I was even born. Despite numerous peace accords, the region has remained in an intermittent state of conflict. Approximately 60,000 civilians have been displaced, and many have lost their means of livelihood. Villages have been abandoned, poverty has increased. Landmines still litter the countryside. Ariantan stepped on a landmine at the front gate of her house when she was 3 years old. As she was growing up, someone sat her down and told her a much different story than the type of fairy tales I was told as a child. She said she fully understood what a landmine was when she was only 10 years old. She grew up unable to play soccer, ride a bike, or run with her friends. Boubacar Ba was the first mine victim I sat down and talked with. He stepped on a landmine in his cashew field. The first thing he remembers feeling is the desire to commit suicide. The ICRC has helped finance a bicycle shop for him to make a living. In the middle of our interview, Boubacar posed a question. As if he was simply thinking out loud, he said, USAID and ICRC and other NGOs are here in the Casamance, but where is our government? Kinte Mane didn't know her age and couldn't remember when the accident happened. Red Cross volunteers rebuilt her house after it collapsed, but no one has been able to rebuild her spirit for living. Before I left her house, her eyes became glassy and she said, I've given up on life. Thackeray was a man with tremendous dignity. He is the president of the Senegalese Association of Mine Victims. ICRC has helped him set up a business selling chickens. When I spoke with him, never did he let on that his situation was hard or unfortunate. To him, it is just the way things are. When Luis was 14 years old, he went with his older brother to an abandoned field where he picked fruit to sell to raise money to go to a youth indoor concert. Out in the field, they both stepped on a landmine. The explosion took both of his legs and killed his brother. The first thought he had after the accident was that he needed to apologize to his mother, who didn't know him and his brother had gone to the field that was known to be dangerous. He said, "If you haven't been in contact with that kind of accident, you don't realize the danger that exists when mines are present. You have to be a landmine victim to really understand what mines are all about." Marientu was soft-spoken but eager to tell her story. She was traveling from the Gambia to Zingashore when the vehicle drove over a landmine. At only 17 years old, she watched people die around her. There were 25 or more people in the vehicle, and she was one of only 7 survivors. Everyone was burned. When I asked her what she hoped for the future, she said with an exhausted sigh, "I don't know." She says she can't stop thinking about all of those who lost their lives right in front of her. At the age of 13, Arthur stepped on a landmine in his father's field. The first thought that came to his mind when the accident happened was, "That is the end of my life. It is not worth living anymore." When the accident happened, he was walking with his younger brothers, who passed by unharmed, but he managed to step right on the landmine. I asked him if he was glad that it was him rather than his younger brothers. Hesitating, he said, "That is very difficult to answer. I am the first child of my father. I was one of the supporters of the family." Batu was traveling from Guinea-Bissau to Zingashore when her vehicle ran over a landmine. She was 24 when the accident happened. She said that she used to cry a lot, and then she discovered the Association of Mine Victims and realized that she wasn't the only person who had come in contact with the landmine. It comforted her, knowing that she wasn't alone. The last thing she said to me was, "I've lost something that can't be replaced. My leg." The thing that struck me about these three men, Charles, Brahma, and Lamine, is that they told their stories with smiles on their faces, but not joyful, contagious smiles, the kind of bitter smiles that make your stomach sick. All three men stepped on landmines in their own field. They believe that landmine victims are the most vulnerable population in the cosmos because they have nowhere to go, receive little help, and have no security. Right before leaving, Brahma looked at me writing in my journal and said, "Journalists, they come and they ask us questions, take our picture and they write, and then they leave and nothing happens." I closed my notebook and started to cry.
En ce temps, il n'y avait pas d'attaque.